future of reporting now.
This is Concordia News Radio.
Good morning. It's currently 7 degrees and sunny at the Loyola campus of Concordia University. I'm Lucas Fanichet, your host, and here are today's headlines. The REM expansion is on track for November. No decrease in domestic violence, and why Gen Z doesn't trust their parents on money issues. It's the day thousands of commuters have been waiting for. Major announcements are being made this morning about the expansion of the REM train. The De Montagne branch of the REM is set to start running in November. Our reporter, Charlotte Theophanous, is live from the press conference. Charlotte, it looks like there won't be any more delays.
That's right, Lucas. Everything is good to go for November. In fact, the Regional Public Transit Authority, or ARTM, just announced that the official opening date is November 17th, and there will be no delays unless there are extenuating weather conditions. Philip Dubé, the Director of Operations and Equipment Management at the ARTM, says that many improvements have been made since 2023 to avoid delays both on the opening day and beyond.
The improvements our crews made since then will end with an outage that would last 20 minutes. The same thing that we did 2 years ago that took an hour and a half or 2 hours would take 20 minutes right now. There's a lot of improvements that have been made.
And so, Charlotte, how will this addition to the REM impact the commuters?
Well, Lucas, the opening of this station will connect Montreal to an entirely different region that has not been easily accessible until now. Sarah Ben-Sadoun, spokesperson for Transport Quebec, says that this is a major win for the city and will make commuting in and out of the city much easier, especially during rush hours.
It is going to improve the connection between the suburbs and the Montreal island. So basically, people from De Montagne will be able to go to the South Shore of Montreal very easily without being stuck in traffic.
And Charlotte, when is the whole REM system supposed to be running?
The whole system should be operational by 2027. The stations from Brossard to Gare Centrale, with the exception of one, are already running and have been since 2023. The branch going towards Mont-Salorme is set to start running in spring 2026, and the section going towards the Dorval Airport is scheduled for 2027. Even though we still have a few years ahead of us before we can ride the REM anywhere, the opening of the De Montagne station is a step forward for passengers eager to extend their commute beyond the island of Montreal.
Thanks for that live report. That was Charlotte Theophanous. Continuing regarding transport, we got news regarding the STM strike, and it's not looking great for anyone relying on public transit. Starting October 31st, more than 2,400 maintenance workers plan to strike every day until November 28th, and even on election day. The union says new schedules and budget cuts have made their jobs harder, and they're asking for better hours and less pressure. Until there's a deal, buses and metros will only run during rush hours, so get ready for some chilly walks to class. After years of increase, the number of police-reported domestic violence incidents remained unchanged in 2024 compared to the previous year. Yet the numbers are a marked increase since the beginning of the pandemic. Manoj Subramaniam has the report.
There were 349 victims of family violence per 100,000 people, which includes violence committed by spouses, parents, siblings, or other family members, and 356 victims per 100,000 people when it came to violence by current or former partners. Most victims are women and children, according to Laura Sauvage, an analyst at Statistics Canada.
So women and girls are still primary victims of both family violence and intimate partner violence, but it's also rising against men and boys. So in 2024, we saw a larger increase in the rate for men and boys versus women and girls.
While the numbers remain stable from 2023 to 2024, it still represents a 17% increase since the pre-pandemic levels of 2018. In Quebec, both family violence and intimate partner violence was higher than the national average. The report also cautions that a lot of victims of domestic violence do not come forward due to various reasons. Walter Tom works at a legal information clinic that offers legal advice to victims. He says when women decide to report violence by their partners, they're not only wanting out of that relationship, but they're also taking a big risk.
But at the same time, right, they're also escalating the situation. And if they don't have an alternative for safety and shelter, well, unfortunately, their choice is just to continue living with the violence that
Tom says immigrants and marginalized groups are especially more vulnerable to domestic violence situations. And the government should invest in shelter and mental health resources rather than policing. For Concordia News, Manoj Subramaniam.
The provincial government has announced it is giving $1 million to support 50 artistic and cultural projects across Quebec. It's supposed to help youth in mental health issues. Zach Jutras has the story. Zach, why is it important to invest in these projects now?
Well, a provincial health survey found that between 2022 and 2023, high school students saw an increase in mental health problems. 20% of these high schoolers reported having anxiety, and 7% said they had depression. Art therapist Carmen Opria says art can be used to help with things like anxiety.
Introducing it as a way to, as you said, maybe calming, reducing anxiety, or even expressing ourselves is important.
All right, Zach, and could you tell us exactly where the government is investing this money?
The projects are being offered by public libraries and some community and Indigenous organizations throughout the province. Not included on the list, though, are schools. Opria says it's a good thing, as art shouldn't be graded.
I would say that art is introduced in many of the schools. What is a little bit difficult is grading. It's very hard to grade art.
Is this part of a bigger plan?
Yes, the investment announced today is another part of a wider plan. The plan runs from 2022 through 2026 and includes partnerships with community organizations and promoting mental health services.
Thank you, Zach. Moving on, for anyone who hasn't gotten their shots in yet, today's your chance. The Montreal Canadiens and the Quebec Lung Association are teaming up for a free vaccination clinic at the Bell Centre. From 9 to 6, adults can roll up their sleeve for protection against flu, pneumonia, COVID-19, among other lung illnesses. It's all part of an effort to raise awareness about respiratory health. And if you're scared of needles, note that former Habs David Savard and Vincent Damphus will be there to cheer you on and give you courage. As food insecurity rises in Montreal, a new report suggests that the city could turn food waste into millions of meals for families in need. Food banks warn that growing hunger, while experts warn of the logistical challenges at play. Deirdre Davnovich has more on the story.
Véronique Beaulieu-Fowler, the Director of Philanthropy at Food Banks of Quebec, is sounding the alarm. She says resources have been on the decline, while demand for food aid has grown by 37% since 2022. The shortage not only challenges the organization's ability to operate, but also leaves a lasting effect on families who rely on these vital services to put food on the table.
When people are in food insecurity, you increase their stress levels, their anxiety levels, because they don't know where their next meal will be. And when we get to severe food insecurity, we're finding other health issues that can happen.
This is why the Institute for Socioeconomic Research and Information is pushing for a city bylaw requiring businesses to donate leftover products. According to a new study, such a measure could provide up to 17 million extra meals each year. Dr. Annalisa Onio, academic lead for Food Research and Action Montreal, says this could certainly force businesses to do more, but might lead to more complications.
We run into big problems with redistribution in some of these situations because, for example, Montreal has a large warehouse, but it's not close to a lot of neighborhoods. So they're redistributing regionally when in some cases it might be better to just have the local supermarket directly donate to the food bank that is right next door.
The IRIS says the move could position Montreal as a national leader in the fight against food waste, setting the example for cities across Canada. For Concordia News, I'm Deirdre Danovich.
Montreal police are investigating a suspected arson attempt at a small grocery store in Montreal North early this morning. At around 4 a.m., a 911 call reported an alarm on Jean Meunier Avenue. When officers arrived, they found a small fire that had already been put down by someone unknown. Investigators say suspect may have broken the front window, set the fire, and fled. No arrests so far, and damage to the building is said to be minor. A new report by Simply Financial claims that there is a growing divide between the older and younger generation in terms of financial literacy. Gabriel Watson has the story.
The report claims that 1 in 4 Canadians, 25%, believe guidance from older generations no longer feels relevant, a number that rises to 34% among Gen Zs. The reason for this mistrust in the financial advice of the older generation is that most believe that Advice on home buying no longer applies to them, and more than one-third question traditional perspective on unemployment or income. This sentiment is echoed by Guillaume Chevalier, a 26-year-old full-time worker who's lived with his girlfriend for 3 years and hopes to buy a home next year. His parents have given him financial advice and help in the past.
C'est sûr, ça m'a beaucoup aidé pour me partir dans la vie.
They for sure helped me out a lot to start my adult life. But after that, are they entirely conscious of the reality us young live through? No. In many cases, it's not that the older generation doesn't want to help, it's that they don't understand the struggle of the current generation.
Eux, ils ont payé leur maison 92 000.
They bought their house for $92,000. Nowadays, houses on the South Shore are between $400,000 and $600,000 minimum. Lorraine Balin, a director of finance at the McConnell's Family Foundation, agrees on the fact that the new generation has serious limitations on their ability to accumulate savings.
With the new generation, I just feel like there's so much demands, first of all, on terms of additional expenses and how expensive life is.
The housing market and inflation have continuously risen in past years and months. The housing market and inflation have continuously risen in past years and months. The government remains fervent, however, in their claims that new government programs, such as Build Canada Homes, will help counterbalance these rising costs. For NDG, I'm Gabriel Watson.
Washington Commanders trashes Kansas City Chiefs, Ottawa Senators beat Boston Bruins, and Dodgers win their third games against the Blue Jays. Here is Hassan Bale with all your sports highlights.
Joe's going back before the clock strikes midnight. Freddie Freeman has ended it. Freddie Freeman's walk-off wins World Series Game 3 for Los Angeles Dodgers after an 18-innings marathon against the Toronto Blue Jays. The game lasted for more than 6 hours and ended with a 6-5 win for the Dodgers. Game 4 to be played in Toronto today at 8 p.m. Dodgers aim for a new star acquisition this season to strengthen their squad with $400 million to spend.
Back now and carried in by Stützle. Dylan Cousins double team. Sanderson walks it to the outside. Here's a chance. The
Ottawa Senators extended their winning streak to 3 games with a dominant 7-2 victory over Boston Bruins Monday night. This win marks Ottawa's strongest performance of the season as they continue to build momentum.
And they play this ball possession with these receivers. 2nd and 6. Mahomes end zone caught by Kelsey. Touchdown.
The Washington Commanders cruised to a convincing 28-7 victory over the Kansas City Chiefs, extending their strong start to the season. In NBA, Wembanyama leads Spurs to 121-103 win against Raptors.
If you got an old lottery ticket lying around, now's the time to check them. Loto Québec is looking for 2 missing millionaires and 1 lucky winner of $25,000 a year for life. The tickets were sold in Lanaudière and of Laurentians, but nobody claimed the prizes yet. One winner just has just 1 month before their dream payday disappears. So seriously, check your pockets, your junk drawers, maybe even the glove box. You could be sitting on a fortune. Today's weather will stay on the sunny side, though still a bit nippy out there. You can expect similar conditions tomorrow before clouds start moving around at the middle of the week. We're expecting a lot of rain on Thursday. Luckily, that's supposed to taper off on Friday, just in time for kids to head out on Halloween. But chances are there will be a bit of drizzle, so keep that costume waterproof just in case. For the weekend, sun is to be expected, while overall temperatures remain chilly, not going above 10 degrees. That's your news at 11:45. Thanks for listening. For Concordia News, I'm Lucas Fanichet.